Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the ALC ChangeMakers Podcast, where we highlight the stories of leaders who are building connection, culture, and community in a world that's constantly changing. I'm your host, Jennifer Sconyers, and I'm so excited to bring you today's conversation with someone who brings clarity, joy, and a whole lot of wisdom to leadership work, Varsey Laurelle. Varsey and I met through the Haven Collective co-working community here in Columbus, Ohio. And from the moment we connected, it was clear we shared a deep commitment to purpose-driven leadership and supporting people through change. Varsey is the founder of Varsey Laurelle Cultural Architecture, a firm focused on helping teams and leaders get unstuck, reconnect with their purpose, and build stronger, more aligned cultures. In this episode, we talk candidly about what it means to lead through uncertainty, especially in a time where DEI-adjacent work is being challenged, funding is shifting, and many purpose-driven leaders are being pushed to pivot. Varsey shares her own journey of reinvention, including launching a new podcast, expanding her offerings nationally, and leaning into the power of community as a tool for resilience. If you've ever wondered how to stay true to your values, communicate transparently with your team, or get creative about what's next, this episode is for you. Let's dive into my conversation with the amazing Varsey Laurelle. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Sconyers, and welcome to the ALC ChangeMakers Podcast. Today, we have Varsey Laurelle. Varsey, welcome to the podcast. So excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored.
You're so welcome. So for our listeners, Varsey and I work at the co-working space Haven Collective in Columbus, Ohio. So I've said before, I'm based in Columbus. The team is all over the country. And so Varsey and I met, I want to say a year ago-ish,
Oh,
year and a half ago, maybe?
yeah, I was going to say 2, but time, what is
Yeah.
time after COVID?
Yeah, and we met because one of the co-owners here was naming we do similar work, and so it'd be important for us to connect. So tell our listeners, Varsey, who you are and the work that you do.
Yes, hi. So hi, everyone. My name is Varsey Laurelle. I am also based here in Columbus, Ohio, and I have a cultural architecture firm called Varsey Laurelle. And essentially what we do is we really help leaders and teams kind of get out of their own way so they can be more effective and reach their goals. So what that looks like is it could be some leadership guidance / coaching, some advising, because sometimes it's really lonely at the top and you don't have that person to bounce ideas off of and think through strategic plans. It could be some team effectiveness. Maybe you have a high turnover. You're spending a lot of money in onboarding and recruiting, so helping with the team alignment and sustainability and bringing joy into an environment and clarity.
I love it. I love it. So what does your work look like now? I know that there's just been so many things happening externally that have impacted the work. I mean, just for listeners, I know my clients have called us DEI consultants, even though we do culture change, right? So I appreciate when the marketplace gives you a tag.
Yeah.
Tag you have, and we uphold those values. But like it's such a strange time for anyone who is DEI or DEI adjacent, and like how to do culture work in a time when it's kind of like anti-culture. It's really hard when there's this external voices saying like, we don't need culture or we don't need the culture that's being built. So just super curious how this has impacted you.
Oh, it's so interesting, right? Because of the work that I do, which essentially is, okay, you know that people and processes that support people matter, but you maybe just don't know that, right? But you know the one. And so insert Varsey, right? I can help you with how and what that looks like to get it done. So because of that, I end up working with a lot of nonprofits and a lot of woman leaders, right? I mean, that's just the facts. That's the biggest demographic of people that know that it matters. And so that's been majority of where I sit. And then in this recent pivot mostly with like a lot of federal funding being cut, the nonprofits were hit so much, right? And so now it's just, okay, we're just trying to sustain right?
Yeah.
Administratively, or like continue to serve the people that we're serving. And
Right.
so a lot of those openings that I had to support closed off. And
Right.
so for me, and you and I talked about this. I think I talked to you in the middle of my panic and you
Yeah.
see me, so thank you. But what is the pivot? What does it look like to pivot, right? Essentially, is what does it look like to stand by what I know is necessary and what works, but to maybe do it differently and find the people that have the resources to invest.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's been a lot of getting in community
Mm.
and really just knowing like, oh, okay, it's not just me. I didn't do anything wrong. This is what's happening in the world,
Yeah.
right? And sparking ideas off of each other and hey, what works or what are your clients' pain points or what are you seeing out there, right? Very similar to the conversation you and I had. And really just identifying, okay, what does this look like now? So right now it looks like throwing stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks, Jennifer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It looks like a lot more curiosity and openness and conversations,
Yeah.
um, and honesty,
Yeah.
and talking to people. I'd say community is number one. So I've been
Mm.
doing, community workshops. I have been thinking about, ooh, what does it look like to maybe support like venture capitalists and their portfolio of organizations? Just really trying to just, one, be in community, two, be curious and open and listen and try new things.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, makes a lot of sense, right? So the need for community, the need for conversations, um, the need for openness, trying new things and seeing what sticks. It feels like that's the moment we're in. Um, must have been maybe a month and a half ago. I was at a webinar with some other entrepreneurs, and I'd say their values aligned to what we do here, B Corp community, people who support nonprofits. And it was a whole series that they were doing about like basically how to like pivot and work through the chaos. And what do you do? And a big part of the conversation I was a part of had to do with like innovation and what it means. How do you communicate with a team during this time? And how can you be agile when there's so much change? I'm wondering from your vantage point, Varsy, what does that look like for you and for groups that you work with? Like how are people navigating, or what advice would you want to give people on how to manage right now?
Yeah, it's a lot of don't stop doing what's working, right?
Mm.
Because we can tell ourselves, well, I don't have time for the one-on-one meetings anymore. I need to go be out fundraising. I don't have time to get to know people or have a three-step interview process anymore. Like the first thing we want to do is trim what we think the fat is, but the fat
Mm.
is the sustenance, right? The fat is actually what's getting us there.
Mhm.
So that's a big conversation. Continue doing what you're doing. It matters to
Mhm.
not make decisions out of fear,
Yeah.
um, and to collaborate more, right? Like
Mm.
more collaboration. It doesn't mean as the leader, lots of conversations with CEOs and founders about it. It doesn't, you don't have the answers. You don't have all the answers, and that's okay. No one's expecting you to.
Yeah.
Get in community, collaborate with people, talk to other founders and CEOs. What are they doing? Talk to your team,
Mhm.
right? Be more vulnerable with your team
Mhm.
because that they're terrified too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so when they see the vulnerability of you saying, you know what, these are rough times. This is how it's affecting me personally, professionally. It gives them more confidence and it makes
Mhm.
them believe in you and the mission even more so that you now
Mhm.
don't have more issues, right? With
Mhm.
people resigning, layoffs, looking for new jobs, all of that.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing you say it sounds like there's gotta be a lot of just open communication
Yeah.
during this time from leaders. Definitely align with that. I mean, I know even into last year when I could tell the tide was gonna turn again, our team's remote. They're not actually in office together. So communication for us looks like we use our, communications portal to do so. It means like video recordings, that kind of thing, outside of like Zoom calls like this. And I put together a video that I posted on our team channel. and was just like, just acknowledging where we are and acknowledging there's a lot of uncertainty coming. And like a CEO just saying, we've actually been here before because we have. The company was started in 2016. So there was a lot in that first couple years that was rocky that I learned a lot as a new CEO. And being able just to name for the team, like we're capable and able to navigate these waters. It will
Yes.
look different.
Yes.
Um, and I will say as a result of that I could tell people were appreciative of the communication, right?
Yes.
And B, I think also want to know how they could contribute, how they could help. What does that look like? And it looked different for everybody.
That's right.
But it was a conversation that also part of it was me asking the support that they needed because everyone was like, what do we do? So I think it's like, it speaks to if you have someone who's in senior leadership, who's authentically speaking to their team. This is the inside the house. So internally, that's supportive. And then I think it's also necessary depending on membership, client base, customer base. What's the messaging, right, that they have so that their customers, their clients feel like they're being taken care of? I'm just curious for you, like, is there any advice you have around that? Because it's internally with your team, and then it's
Yeah.
also whomever you serve needs to feel like you're on top of it or you're acknowledging what's happening, but they're going to move. I'm just super curious what
Yeah.
that for you.
I feel like that's a continuation of the ripple, right? Like
Yeah.
what your leader gave you, now you then go on, right, and give that same thing to others, right? To whoever
Yeah.
your clients are. That you're
Mm,
open in your communication, that you're honest, that you're vulnerable. I love the reminder of, hey, this isn't the first time we've done this
yeah.
before, because the first time is always the scariest. So now people's shoulders are a little bit relaxed, you know, and
Right.
then bringing them into it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we're a team, right? It's not just me. Tell me what your thoughts are. That's where the collaboration piece comes. Like, what's
Mhm.
an issue for you right now? How can we best support you? What was working that we were doing that maybe isn't working? Like, that's where you can go in and you can
Yeah.
uncover, right? And
Mhm.
explore
Mhm.
more when you talk.
Yeah. So I'm hearing these conversations. There's a lot that can happen. There's the connection piece, there's a relationship piece. There's some feedback and learning. So it's a time to really learn about the things that are working and not working before, how to pivot. So it's generative in terms of information. That's what I'm
Yes.
hearing too. And it's generative in terms of
I
like information and actions people can take.
100%. I think that's been the biggest outcome so far in this pivot, is because I'm doing things differently and I'm taking the time to ask more questions because I have the time to ask more questions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like uncovering, right? That data is informing, like, ooh, that service, I actually wasn't getting any money from that. And oh, people didn't care that I did this thing. They want more of this. And it helps me, right, be better and tighter for the future. So, like, seize this moment of and kind of reframe, yes, like, stuff is rough. And,
Yeah.
like, what is this presenting to me? Like, what opportunity is this bringing forward for me? And that
Mhm.
kind of will shift the mind to be more open and curious about, what else is out there that I need to know that'll help me?
Yeah, I mean, I think, pivot, curiosity, like these are the words right now, innovation, like that's
Yes.
actually what's really important right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
It doesn't serve us just to say the sky is falling. I think it's also about like how do we innovate, how do we move, how do we navigate? Um, all those are important. So talk to me a bit just based on what you're doing in pivoting. What are some things you're launching or doing right?
Oh, good question. Okay. So so many things. I'm honing in more on my market, trying
Okay.
to spread out nationally, just not just operate mostly in Columbus, Ohio. So with that, I have launched a new podcast. It's called Recorded Vulnerabilities. Anywhere you get your podcast, go check it out. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends to tell a friend. So, so I have the podcast. I have some newsletters going out to support the theme of those podcasts coming monthly. So you can subscribe to that on my website at varseylorelle.com. Um, I am, goodness, doing more community workshops.
Mm,
And honestly, Jennifer, I'm just getting out in community more. I'm saying yes to more coffee dates. with
Yeah.
no expectation of where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I'm taking more time to research and identify, what else is happening out there in the world and how can I
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, the pivot looks like maybe different streams, stretching the creativity. So one thing is like, I'm ridiculous and people keep saying I'm funny and that I have these like weird little quotes that I'll say. So like, ooh, what does that look like to make printables and download
Mm.
them from the website and throw them in a frame on the wall? Like just trying to
Yeah.
try all the things, see what sticks.
Yeah.
That's my marketing plan.
Yeah, well, I think this is true, and I think this is resonant for people who are entrepreneurs, small business owners in this marketplace who are just trying to figure it out because it's been so uncertain. I think it's true for people who are in the B Corp space, the nonprofit space.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think anyone who's doing work that is what I call social impact work, like you're not making widgets, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing has an impact on community and people in a very real way.
Yeah.
What I'm noticing is we're kind of the front lines for feeling what's happening. It's not saying that other industries or professions won't feel it later, but
Yeah.
we are at the front lines of the experience. And so I do think it's,
Yeah.
while it's a challenge, it's also an opportunity for us to set the course for what is next.
Yes.
Because we do have
Yes.
to figure it out, right? Like I want to see us all figure this out. And there is something about, though, if you're doing work with community, in community, anything along those lines right now, what I'm noticing is, oh yeah, that's who's feeling it the hardest. But when we have shifts and things with tariffs and so forth, other people are going to feel it, right?
Yes.
When people have like goods will feel it versus those of us who do services or whatever. There's going to be a trickle effect.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought that up. So here's the interesting thing that I've been toying around with in my like curiosity and trying to be a little bit innovative is okay, so I'm gonna speak specifically about nonprofits because that's where most of my clients laid. Most of their money is federal money, right? And
Yeah.
so now that we know what can happen when most of our pot is coming from federal, well, what does it look like to think out of the box and say, maybe there's angel investors, maybe there's other people locally or nationally that support and care about this particular work that we can be going to and attach ourselves to like someone's purpose rather than someone saying they have to.
Yeah.
Right. And then, and like, what does that look like to just be like, okay, so now that I know that this is a shit show, what does it look like to just think differently? Yes, it's weird. It's random. No one's done it. You haven't heard of it before. That's probably why you should try it.
Yeah. I think this timeline does force us all to look at things differently, especially funding and funding streams, whatever that may be. I will name as a person who also works in the nonprofit sector. There are some foundations who are really putting their stakes in the ground and really being supportive of organizations who are doing racial justice work, social justice work. They're running competitive RFP processes, but they're out there. Nathan Cummings just posted something today online on LinkedIn. So for people who are curious, like what's out there, feel free to reach out to me because there's different spaces that I'm in where people are at least talking about it. That being said, the landscape is changing, right? So just as there's foundations who are out there and funders who are like, we want to be supportive of this moment, there are others who pulled back their wallets, right? So so we're seeing these, somewhat seismic shifts in these spaces, and so groups are really, they're in a place that is trying to figure out. And the city of Columbus had an RFP it ran for nonprofits here, so like there are entities who are stepping to the plate in this moment who are like, we want to be there, while there are others who retracted. And we see that during change. So like we're in a sea change, and change is it's scary, it's rocky, and you don't feel settled. So I think really getting grounded in what you're doing is into your organization, getting grounded in your people and your mission, and then being able to get creative. I think they're really important ingredients for this moment.
And the other thing I want to point out too is remember the people that leaned in and leaned back. Like, remember that. Don't forget that. And to focus your energy on the people that are leaning in. Find your people. Like wasted energy. Yes, they showed you who they were. Great. Thanks for the info. And now here's where my energy goes because you need that energy to really on this path, right? This is rough.
Yeah. Well, that's why I started this podcast. I think we're at risk of being in isolation unless we know who's out here in the world doing purpose-driven work.
Yes.
And it's so easy to get
Yes.
caught up in what's happening. There's a daily executive order or something's happening. There's something in the news that's happening all the time that can just really rock you if you're not grounded in. Well, there are people who are out here who are doing actually really purpose driven work, and they're figuring it out and they're finding a
Yes.
way. And that's why I started this
Yes.
podcast for people to have a way to see there are
Yes.
people who are doing. They've not given up anything. They've like put their stakes in the ground,
Yes.
doubled down on the work.
Yes. Much needed. Much needed.
Well, great. Well, what's a final part or a wisdom, or do you have anything that you're starting right now or launching that you want people to know about as we begin to wrap up?
Yeah, I would say follow me on LinkedIn, Varsey Laurelle. And I am always doing some virtual community workshops. It's a great opportunity to realign with my work or align with my work. If you're thinking about bringing me into your organization, you'll get a bop of my personality and the effectiveness and impact of my workshops. Lots of things around, building trust and identifying your values and what does it look like to self-lead so that you can lead your teams more effectively, and on and on and on. And I would also say that I also do clarity sessions, which I'm loving right now. So the clarity sessions are 1.5 hour sessions where I can just help you kind of navigate this block in your head or a process that you're trying to do, or, I'm wasting my time and I don't have, time to do the things that I love or want to do. Just kind of getting unstuck and gaining some clarity. So I'm offering those as well. So you can reach out and book those. Or if you're just local and want a coffee and see where things go, let me know. But I'm here for all of your team effectiveness, cultural strategy, and leadership development work.
Love it. Love it. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you for being
Yes.
on the podcast,
Thank
Varsy.
you so much for having me, Jennifer. I appreciate you. And this work you're doing is so necessary. So thank you for the energy and intention that you're giving it.
Awesome. Well, it's all those listening. You can always follow us at jennifersconyers.com for more information on the work we do in the world. Until next time. Thank you so much for joining us today on the ALC ChangeMakers Podcast. If you found today's conversation inspiring or helpful, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps other changemakers like you find our show. At Abundance Leadership Consulting, we believe in building sustainable leadership in connected communities through justice, courage, and care. If you want to learn more about our work, access leadership resources, or connect with our community, head over to jenniferschonyers.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, keep building relationships that matter, and keep creating change, one bold step at a time.